What's up, everybody? This is the SoapBox Hustle Podcast, your favorite podcast.
I'm just talking about, certain demographics of your customer. How do you actually go after your customer base? How do you figure out who to target, when to target, how to target?
What did your pricing system look like, and how did you get to a point where you felt like, yes, I'm comfortable with these numbers, my clients are comfortable, and it's a good exchange?
I'm a firm believer in how you do one thing is how you do everything. How do you maintain that level of service and quality?
Say the freedom, but it's not really just I can open one-on-one. It's really the opportunity to change employee's life, to give them the opportunity, or the customer to, again, see that
Podcast. I'm James Barnes.
I'm Janita Blue.
I'm Jason Teal.
And today we got a great one for you. We got Mr. Terrill Stevenson, owner of Strong Arm Mobile Detail Services here in Cleveland, Ohio.
Woo! Okay.
Man, my brother from another childhood friend, grew up together, came out of the trenches together. Man, happy to have you here today, man.
Oh, man. Well, pleasure to be here.
Yeah, man.
I've been begging.
This is a long time coming, man. We had to wait for the right occasion. First and foremost, man, happy belated birthday. Right, we fresh off 2 days ago. Yes, sir. So it was only right to get you on the podcast. Man, we got a lot to talk about, man. Say you came a long way, man. Look, just give us some basis of your background. So I know you wasn't always into entrepreneurship. So just tell us about your journey, man. How you arrived at that place.
No, for sure. So funny thing is, which I'll name later, but I was always just comfortable. And I use the word comfortable, just being a regular worker and employee, because of that sense of security. Knowing that, hey, as long as I punch the clock, I get a check. You know what I mean? So I think I was a little nervous of the entrepreneur world until a buddy of mine was like, and I always say this to everybody, like, hey, who your favorite player? And I'm like, LeBron. I'm like, why? Like, do it matter? With the conversation we was having. And he was like, well, you think LeBron got a lot of money? I said, absolutely. So he said, well, who you think paying LeBron? I was like, damn, I never, thought about that. So, when I looked at it like that, I'm like, all right, don't be the LeBron, be the Dan Gilbert, be the owner. So, and that quote actually came from none other than James Barnes himself. So it was definitely some inspiration.
For
So
sure.
never look back.
Hey, so look, for a disclosure, we love LeBron, man. We're going to the podcast one day. But no, I think, having the ownership mindset, man, is something that we rarely see in our culture, right?
Absolutely.
We always see the glitz and glamour, right? What's out in front, as opposed to seeing who designed these things in the background, right? But not just in the sports world, just entertainment in general, right? You talk about the rap industry, right? I remember I was reading something about 50 Cent, and I started to peel back the layers. And you got this small Jewish dude that runs like Death Row Records, man. You know what I'm saying? Wow. But we really
never thought of that.
Yeah, we really capitalize on artistry or the work that we put in, right? Yeah. So that's major. But as you started to kind of start your entrepreneur journey, how did you arrive at Strong Arm Mobile Detail?
Honestly, just being honest, it was an opportunity that just fell in my lap. It wasn't something that I saw myself doing, not just from an entrepreneur standpoint, but just from I wasn't into it. I'm like, I don't really have a, thing for cars, cleaning, so it fell into my lap, and I don't know, once I started, never looked back.
Yeah, but that's how it started a lot of times.
Just kept coming. So
that's entrepreneurship at its finest, right? Yeah. Supply and demand, recognizing opportunity, and then positioning ourselves to take advantage of that opportunity. So when you say it fell into your lap, man, give us some background, man. Tell us how you got going, man. Because right now you're running a conglomerate, man. Right. He got the top detail company in the city, man. And I stand by, man. Do all of our cars, sure. IMG cars, so yeah.
Absolutely.
And what was that pivotal moment? You like, okay, I need to take this seriously. I really need to put my heart and soul into this. And did you leave your job before that? Give us the whole.
No, for sure.
We both the
brand.
No, for sure.
A big leap, a big jump to take.
It is.
Yeah. So no, like I said, first, honestly, it was brought to me by a friend of mine. And so it just became an investment. I was like, I'll put the money up. But then it went from that to I had to get hands-on just because of the lack of help and everything. Mm-hmm. And the more I got to do it and seeing the reactions from the customer when we transitioned from what it was to, the finished product, it was like, wow. I've had, a few times I've even, I think, shared with James, where I've had people literally cry or hug me and hold me because of how clean their car was. And you never really know, or we'll take for granted, okay, we're just cleaning the car, but you don't really know what that meant to somebody. So that was the moment where I was like, okay, this is serious.
We got something.
We on to something.
Do you feel like I know, we do floors, right?
Mm-hmm.
But do you kind of look at what you do, you know, with the mobile detailing as like a form of art? I know you talked about the lady crying, and you know, it's not really just like a job.
Actually, it was a guy, but no.
I know it's a guy.
I was like, all right, yeah, brother.
What Brown? Was it 6'8"?
But yeah, you kind of envision like what you do, you know, as a form of art. Would you say that?
No, absolutely. Because, and I honestly, I'll say this, and this is not, you know, no shade to other companies, but we've had, and we don't shade no company. People come and say, hey, I went down the street, I went here and there. First thing to say is, well, we do things different. I'm not going to say, well, you know, like, it's always, hey, we do it different here, give us a shot. They, you know, just from reviews that I've seen and from the confidence of my work, you will be satisfied. And then, you know, it's followed up with that review. But it's definitely an art, because I say that to say everybody can't do it, obviously. You know what I mean? So you claim to do it, but no, it takes, I mean, because every car is, some built different, you know, some smell different. Some is, you spill this, spill that. Like, it's an art, you know. So
how would you say, like, the team of guys that work with you, that you employ, how would you get them on the same page? How would you have them, you know, I guess kind of empower them to have that same eye for detail that you have?
Yeah.
Well, being honest, the first thing I do is figure out their strengths, right? So you got some that can vacuum pretty good, but, you know, they can't wipe too good. So first you just identify who the strengths, the weaknesses, you know what I mean? And, you know, some it could be the size of the vehicle. They might, you know, can't reach certain things. Whatever the case may be, first of all, you just identify that, you know what I mean? And then you just make sure, you know, you put them in that position. But, and when you do that, and you do it collectively as a team, then man, you get a great product.
Man,
so.
that's the tale of an entrepreneur, right? Being able to bring the team in and have them buy into the vision, right? Your vision. Absolutely. But man, I want to just go back a bit in starting Strong Arm, right? So I want to point out Strong Arm is like the umbrella because you offer a wide range of services, right? Not just with cars, but you do some residential work, some commercial work. We actually contract a lot of work out to you as well. In doing those things, I'm a firm believer in how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Absolutely.
How do you maintain that level of service and quality across the board?
I mean, when you said it, man, just quality. How you start, how you finish, man. If you do, like you said, if you do one thing one way, I mean, it's in you to just do everything the same way, which is just attention to detail, professional, you know what I mean, communication. Like, everything is big, you know what I mean? It all plays a part. So, like you say, from the things we do for IMG, like, literally, it's literally the same process. So, yeah.
I was going to ask you, you know, like as it relates to the business and just having that, like, you know, that eye for detail and things like that. How important is your name and reputation when it comes to your business?
Oh, very important. Very important. I tell, you know, my team all the time, even like we had some work today, and it's like, again, the reputation is how we stay in business. You know what I mean? Like, that's how they keep coming back. And I tell them, like, you know, when you get on Google, you Google us, everybody. And then, honestly, what's so crazy is if you look on Google, the reviews, these people don't know each other, but every review is kind of consistent. They are saying the exact same thing, and they have never met each other. So that just says, very professional, you know, very big on communication. The work with, and honestly, they all say this looks better than when I bought it. So obviously, the system that we created and the product we put out is speaking for itself. So
right,
and that's a
I brought that up to make a point because I think a lot of times in entrepreneurship, and sometimes even like with our own, you know, sometimes the quality isn't there. You know, we look for just a quick dollar, you know, as opposed to really taking the time out to provide, you know, just the best service possible. I can tell you, I've used you, and this dude is no joke. No, crack the whip. Hey, sir, you missed the spot. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
no, he literally, he does amazing work. He takes his time.
Absolutely.
And I think he took some extra time on my tires. Like, hey, it's not right. Let me.
He
literally.
In the special accommodations, man. You know, I don't like a lot of tire weight on my whip.
Yes, sir.
You get on the team. Hey, man, don't put that tire weight on the car. But again, the consistency, right? The relationships, the customer satisfaction across the board is top tier. So with that being said, I do want to ask, man, what's the craziest scenario you run across in detailing cars?
Man, a lot, but the craziest one we had.
NDA, you weren't supposed to speak about that.
Yo, the craziest. Back to you, but no, I appreciate that. This man went and bought tires, came back an hour later, we opened back up, got them wet for him, and he was praising us, man. So that was dope.
I appreciate it.
No, for sure. But the craziest encounter, man, to the point where my old business partner, man, I mean, they was at it, you know, like cats and dogs. When we had a car, it was really bad. Lady had some milk in there, and I don't know why she let it sit for 6 months and thought we could do something, but we had to remove the seats. And at this time, I mean, we like 2 years in, we kind of like remove the seats, and we only charging $100, and that's another thing. Like, man, the prices, but we'll get to that later. But so we thinking like, you know, like we're not doing all this for. So long story short, we do it on the house, everything. We take the seat out, we lift the carpet. I mean, it's just a bunch of maggots. I mean, it was so bad, and I'm like, this is out of our scope of work, but. Yeah, so we might have refunded the lady, but she, you know, came up there with her family and everything, and it's like, it's not that serious. But that was the craziest encounter.
So how did you take care of it, man?
So it was a dead body under the seat.
Man,
Basically.
pretty much.
That's
Pretty
the
much.
NBA, man. You ain't talk about that. Just don't tell them to make the model and the color of the car.
No, for sure. I hope she don't have the car anymore. But no.
Just go the whole car away.
Honestly, no. But you say, how do we handle it? I mean, you know, in the most professional manner, like, look, man, you can have the money back. Like, I mean, it's just something we can't do. We honestly stepped outside of our regular to try to accommodate the lady. It was like, I mean, if us stepping outside is not enough, then, you know.
Yeah, hey, but that's a like a key point, entrepreneurship, right? Mm-hmm. Knowing how to stay in your lane, right? Y'all didn't say, oh yeah, we gonna do it and take the money and give a half-ass service, right? Mm-hmm. No, this is what we do. This is our specialty. We're not gonna take the money just to take the money and not deliver a top-tier service to you. So that's definitely, you know, one of the lessons that most entrepreneurs need to learn. We so often want to, you know, because it's in front of us, we want to take the opportunities everything that glitter ain't gold.
Absolutely. Nah, for sure. And one thing that you mentioned on before was pricing. And I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners out there have to figure out, like, how do I want to price? What area? Who are the people I want to serve? And who can afford my work? So what did your pricing system look like? And how did you get to a point where you felt like, yes, I'm comfortable with these numbers, my clients are comfortable, and it's a good exchange?
That's a great question, and you know, that's why I said we tap on it, because I always talk about this. But what's funny is so the crazy thing about being an entrepreneur, you can price yourself in, and you can price yourself out.
Absolutely.
So we actually, fortunately enough, priced ourselves in, and I say that because we started out. I didn't know. My partner, he like, dude, like people are charging $200-$300. We were charging $75 for a detail, and at the time, we started in 2020. So at the time, you're probably talking $150. Now, I mean, you well over $200-$300, but he's like, no, people charge more. I'm like, dude, all we doing is shampooing after we vacuum, you know. But I say to say, so we had the $75 special. We were doing, you get 2 cars, you get a free in and out. So now at $150, you get a value of $500 that we didn't know. So we priced ourselves in, and then we gave that about a year, you know, and we kind of, you know, our overhead wasn't much because we did start mobile before we got the brick-and-mortar. So everything was staying in outside of gas and oil changes. So we saw the profit, and then that's when we knew, like, okay, it's time to go up. You know, got the brick and mortar, starting to get employees, you know, then you just kind of gauge it off of your expenses and your overhead. So I think we're pretty good now.
Okay, cool.
How important would you say aligning your mission, like your mission statement of your business, and really your business model? What is the importance with aligning those with the actual work that you do? Because I know it's kind of like, some folks, they have a certain mission, a certain vision, certain business model, but it doesn't necessarily go with the actual work that they do. So how important are those two, and do you feel like they should be as one?
Absolutely. So they're connected. First of all, our slogan or our mission is very simple. You come dirty, leave clean. It's as simple as that. Kind of keep it simple, straightforward. And we might add in see you soon or see you later, because people too come right back, right? So just tying that in, like just like that's your statement. That's what we provide. So, you know, keep it pretty simple and straightforward.
That's good marketing. Tell people exactly what's happening.
Bingo. Like we ain't gonna dance around it.
Right.
So
but from a pricing standpoint, right? I think we had those conversations as well, right? Understanding the geographic area, the demographic of the people that you're serving. I think that y'all were priced. I think y'all priced perfectly now, but I did, you know, the same thing. Like, man, the product that y'all or the service that y'all delivering is top tier, right? And I think that men, right, especially with decent cars, I think we more prone to pay, you know, those additional fees to get, you know, to keep our car clean. Riding around, you know, we like to look good at times, like our haircut, man. We don't come with a crispy line, and we don't come with a clean car. But I think that understanding, you know, who your your market is, right? Understanding your market in general helps with the price. And I think that y'all did a good job of understanding, hey, in Cleveland, right, in this area, people are willing to pay X, Y, Z, right? And again, in comparison to other services that's providing, or other companies that provide similar services, in comparison to the quality of the service, man, y'all definitely a step above, man.
And I will say, man, James definitely stayed on me about that. And I was like, no. So, and that goes back to what I was talking about, the pricing in and pricing out, because he would be like, well, if they're not going to pay it, then you, but now so when you first start off, and as far as I say pricing yourself in, you're so scared of losing that customer and accommodating them that sometimes you may sacrifice the quality, or you may sacrifice, you know what I mean? So if you're gonna give that, then the pricing has to align. So now it's to the point where now it's to the point where I'm like, well, if you don't want to pay it, then I understand, I hope you find what you're looking for. And literally I had a lady, I don't know if I could share that story, but so
it's a safe space.
cool. No, it was really quick, but I had a lady, because it was prime example about a month ago, and she actually just called me. And she keeps calling, like, hey, can you? So she came about a month ago. She picked the package. We was in the middle of it. She was like, oh, it don't come with this, come with that. I said, no, that's an add-on. And I'm trying to explain that I will take care of it, though, on the house. But she was so, animated. This lady left. Calls a week later, because I'm going over here because they take care of me. Comes back a week later. I don't like the work they did. Can y'all do it? So now and it was like, okay, well, go out there and test the waters. I'll see you soon. And that's why I said, I'm going to add, I'll see you soon, because I know the quality of the work. So now she cannot stop calling me. So.
Was the price cheaper on the other end when she went?
She didn't disclose that. And again, I don't even want to talk about it. Not here, but like when a customer comes and they bad mouthing or bashing any other competitor, it's like, that's your experience there. Leave it there. Yeah. This is,
That's good business.
So,
I think sometimes too, I've done it. We probably all done it, but we probably tend to sometimes go with what's cheaper as opposed to what's better.
Absolutely.
In the sense of quality, But what I wanted to ask you was, and it was kind of to piggyback off of James' question, just talking about certain demographics in your customer. How do you actually go after your customer base? How do you figure out who to target, when to target, how to target?
That's a good question, man. So I will say where we're located, right? We're right in the middle. You know what I mean? So we get different demographics, whatever, different people. I don't know. Like, I just throw specials out there for some people So first of all, our pricing is literally, you got two options: budget and condition. Depending on the condition of your vehicle, depending on how much you want to spend. So we already do good by just with pricing. And like James said earlier, like first we was, like, hey, y'all need to. So now we right there. We're right where we need to be. We probably got room to go up. But I just kind of put the work out there, man. I don't really, chase them or try to drive it to one demographic of people. The work speaks for itself. Everybody will say, I seen your reviews, or such and such told me about you, and that's how they come.
Yeah, so. And going back to the pricing thing, man, I think, like I said, we had these conversations. You keep me like grounded in a sense, right? Because like to be relatable in these conversations, right? Because I'm talking to you, you're like, look, we just getting started. And then just now, right, taking myself back to just getting started, it's like, bro, I would have did some shit for $1. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But I'm like, hey, man, raise your prices. You're like, look, man, we got customers, they happy, they paying, we got revenue coming in. But I see, but talking to you now, you like, same thing, right? We're not going to price ourselves out of a job, right? Mm-hmm. We know what our profit margins are. We know what's, we can do, what we can't do. Mm-hmm. So we're not going to do it for the sake of doing it, right? Same thing with us, Jay. When we go out and price, I know that everybody can't afford our services, right? But we position ourselves as a luxury facility management company to where if you can't, we don't want to go there, right? Yeah. We ain't got time to be hunting people down, trying to, get our money. We know who our customer base is. We know the product and the service that we're providing, and we're going to charge accordingly. And I think that, again, having those conversations with you then, and having those conversations now, man, you can see, the growth in the business for sure.
And then I think like you always mention this, which is a good point, the B2B, B2C. So when you're pricing B2C, it's a little more difficult, especially like you do the commercial level. I'm more, all over. Mm-hmm. But right now, what's going on with the inflation? I always say I can charge somebody $300, they're gonna get good work, but if I'm charging $300 for a service, I'm well okay with charging $150. What they gonna pick? The groceries or the car? You know what I mean? So again, that's pricing yourself out. So we just try to stay very average but we still don't let the quality drop.
But being aware. This is not a necessity, right?
Bingo. Yep.
People got water hoses at home, they can go and they can wash their car. So I'm gonna position myself right to make sure that I could stay on that budget sheet, right? To still be relevant when it's time to, pay for these different services, man. But that's in a lot of different industries. I was talking to somebody in the beauty industry. They're like, look, they don't have to come get their hair done and their nails done and these eyelashes. So we got to make sure that we price ourselves to stay relevant, right, and be competitive in the marketplace, man. But that's good stuff, man.
I was just going to add one more point to that. Not only like the quality and the pricing. I think referrals, because you do such an amazing job and the prices are so good, I would assume that you get a lot of referrals just based on that, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, that's solid, man. So I know, shout out to Strong Arm. You just had your 5-year anniversary, right?
Yes, sir.
So what can we look forward to Strong Arm in the next 5 years, right? Give us the breakdown of the high-level growth plan, excuse me.
Just like with any other business, man, expansion, man. Like right now, we're sitting on 2 vans, like I said, a brick-and-mortar. So we got 1 location, 2 vans. And it's funny you say that because I did say 5 years, which just had a birthday. So by 40, I'm like, either a second location or automatic service where, I could just, membership. Because a lot of people ask about the memberships, but hand washes, you're not going to get $30 a month worth of service doing hand wash. But, open up that automatic location or a second location is definitely in the near future. So it's just expanding.
Could you see yourself outside of, I know we're talking about expansion, outside of Cleveland or even outside of the state of Ohio at some point?
Absolutely. Bob, I was just telling James like a week or 2 ago, man, I'm ready to pack it all up and take it to Dallas. But right here is home, you know what I mean? So we start here and then, you just kind of, after that it's just networking and seeing and identifying the opportunity. You know what I mean? So if we were strictly mobile, not going to lie, we would have been gone because now we're operating 6 months out of the year in the north. We take it to the south, we're 9-10 months out of the year. You know what I mean? So, but with that brick and mortar, I remember a long time ago too, man. So, just really quick, this is like one of my mentors, right? So, a lot of this is gonna come from him. But he was like, "Hey, did you bite off a little more than you can chew? Like, I know y'all got the shop. Was y'all ready for that? Because we literally was open for 6 months and had people like, what are y'all gonna do in the winter? Like, I need to keep coming to y'all. We found a shop, and it was a little too soon, but." we stayed afloat. So if it wasn't for that, I probably would have relocated. But I do want to expand out of the state, though. Absolutely.
Yeah, but that's an important point too, man. Like in business, it's not what you make, is what you keep, right? So the goal is to always keep your overhead costs low, right, and keep your profit margins high. So in having those conversations again, man, like just taking me back. Even with myself, right, I'll try to wait as long as possible to get a brick and mortar because I know. Not only rent, but you got lights, you got gas, you got office furniture, you got to pay somebody to be there. That's a whole another, $3,000-$4,000 a month, right, on the low end. So in having those conversations, I think the attractive part of your business is the mobile part, right? Yeah. So just if you could speak on just balancing the mobile with the shop, right, and how do you make both of them work?
Very simple. So we did go from a lot of just phone appointments where now it's scheduled. You go online, it's like, okay. And it blocks out the necessary time. So, especially with the lack of help. So, if we got a mobile, we'll go and take care of the mobile. And it's scheduled out a certain, blocks at a time. So, we'll go take care of the mobile, go back over to the shop. Now, I'm not going to lie, it's difficult with the lack of help. But as long as we have the proper help, it's pretty consistent, man. It's pretty.
Well, I've seen the consistency. Like I say, whether you do mobile or in shop, right? Whether you're there or not there, the quality in the work is always the same.
Absolutely.
That's why the balance of it, man, is important.
Yeah, and I respect the fact that you took a risk, right? Because I feel like a lot of people, they're like, "Am I going to open this up? Am I going to do it?" And sometimes you have to take risks in business to be able to grow. If it's no risk, it's no reward. So one thing I do want to talk to you about is, what do you feel? Like, what do you enjoy about being an entrepreneur? Because people, we got our team here, our people watching right now, and they're like, maybe they're on the edge of doing it, or just some inspiration for them to keep going and maybe to take those risks.
No, for sure. It's funny you say that because I was back to when we were talking about the, getting the shops and so on. It was like, I was just a risk we were willing to take, but we did not want to lose those customers. But so finding help is just hard, especially when you have a brand or a quality to uphold is very hard because first of all, you want to be the one doing every single car, but it's not going to happen. And nobody's going to do it like you. So it's hard, but again, just identifying strengths, weaknesses. And if you identify good strengths or more strengths, then you just train them up. If not, then obviously it's not for everybody. But to answer the other question, I remember about what I like about the entrepreneur. Most people will say the freedom, but it's not really just I can open one I want and
is it really free
charge? Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. It's probably more headache than anything,
Man.
but it's really the opportunity. As cliche as it sounds, but the opportunity to change, an employee's life, to give them the opportunity, or the customer to again see that transition to where they want to give you that embrace and hug. So
man, and kudos to you for really developing a real business, right? We talking about hiring people, right? You could have easily stayed in the self-employed bucket, right? We doing everything ourselves. We washing all the cars. We doing all the paperwork. We doing all the account work. But for you to go out and actually incorporate other people into the system, right? Being able to train them to where there's no lack of quality, the consistency across the board. Man, just give us high level some of the things, processes that you took. So kudos to you in talking about developing an actual system, right? Because a lot of people say in that self-employed bucket, right? Everything goes through them. They cleaning, they doing the accounting work, they doing all the administrative work. How was it for you, right? Developing these systems and actually incorporating people and not sacrificing quality, right? Because we all face the same challenges. I know that was a big thing for me in getting started in business, right? I was doing a lot of the cleaning myself. I set these mental timelines in my head and say, all right, after 3 months, I got to find somebody, I got to train them, I got to move on to the next, and then the next, and then the next, and the next. The next thing you know, we develop a real business, right? With real systems behind it. So just talk a little about the process of putting the business systems into place and making that transition from self-employed to a business owner.
Okay, yeah. So that's really what it was. So like I say, getting the people, hiring them. So obviously, the first thing you got to do is definitely work in the business. You know what I mean? So you have to be self-employed for quite some time because you have to create that system. And I do look at it today like, man, 5 years later, like, from my kids to just anybody I've hired, like, man, we really create. They know what to grab, when to grab it. So working within the business was good because that's where you got all the room to F up. You know what I'm saying? So because you can take all the accountability, nobody to blame. You know what I mean? And your name is on it, so you don't have to, like I say, worry about blaming anybody. But yeah, it was just working in the business and figuring out what worked and what didn't work. You know what I'm saying? So, and then like I say, with us pricing ourselves in, we couldn't afford to pay nobody. So $75 and we was out there for 4 hours. I was like, man. So
I get it. And I talk about all the time, like, man, I had the luxury of being young with not a lot of responsibility, right? So that $20 an hour I was making, I could afford to slice it into 10 to pay this person, right, and then develop the system in the background. But I think Janita touched on it earlier, talking about how most people have a hard time transitioning from a job to entrepreneurship because it's not easy, right? And then you might take that pay cut, but I don't know if you weren't working a job in that. I think you always kind of doing something that's entrepreneurial related, non-traditional in a sense. But
for the most part.
Would you rather hire the employee that has experience or someone you would have to train? Why or why not?
It's funny you say that. I know it's because certain things, like I know working with you on the floor, it was like, I'd rather get somebody that don't know what they're doing. But even though they're both arts, in this world, honestly, I would probably rather go with somebody that has the experience because I don't know. It's weird, but I just tell workers like I ran out of training, man. I done trained about 10, 15 people. They're not there anymore, and it's like I can't do this again. So if you know what you're doing and all the tools are pretty much the same, then it takes the headache out of it. But I do. Sometimes I can be impatient, so I don't like to train, but I don't mind training because it is good to just kind of take somebody that knows nothing and then teach them everything and then watch their growth. You know what I mean? Like my little brother was a prime example. He come up every summer and help. Never knew anything about detailing. Now it's probably one of the best detailers I've ever met. So yeah, definitely shout out to Tyler for that. So yeah.
That's good.
So I have two questions for you. The first thing is high level advice you give to an aspiring entrepreneur. And then the second thing is, what is the legacy that you plan to leave behind? Not only with Strong Arm, but as you grow in entrepreneurship, what do you want people to remember about Terrill Stevenson?
Okay. You said the first one was
advice you would give to somebody that's looking to start their own business?
Man, a lot of it will say, like I said, it sounds cliche, but it's literally never giving up. You know what I mean? And anybody that's really close with no loans or nothing, own money, you know what I mean? Hard months, and I know you always say stay away from partnerships, but to have a partner just walk on you and you got rent due, light bills, it's like, wow, but literally never gave up. And now we are so above water. It's crazy. So I would just literally say never give up, just stay consistent, persistent, and, just make sure no matter how hard it get, the quality is there in the communication. And
We talk about just the legacy that you want to leave behind as an entrepreneur, business owner.
I mean, y'all said it. Just great work, great guy. I mean, good company. I mean, I do. If I ever left this earth, I want Strong Arm to be known. If it's nationwide, blessing. If it's statewide, that's that'll work. But just knowing like the legacy of who started it, the quality, the name that's on it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's pretty much where.
That's solid, man. That's solid. Dropping some jewels for sure, man.
Yeah.
Man, we gonna wrap it up, man. We gonna leave room for part 2, but we appreciate y'all tuning in. This has been another great episode of the SoapBox Hustle Podcast, your favorite hustler's favorite podcast. We appreciate you, Terrell, stopping through, dropping the jewels. We gonna look to support Strong Arm. We got some good things coming up. We gonna look to give away some things for free. Details and things for Strong Arm. Y'all got to see it for yourself, man. Y'all don't take our word for it.
How do they I'm sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jason.
No, you go.
Oh, how can everybody find Strong Arm? How can they book your services? How can they work with you? How can they see you do it differently?
No, for sure. So obviously Instagram, Strong Arm Mobile Detail, Google, Strong Arm Mobile Detail. Either
Check
one
out the
take you to
reviews.
Yes, sir. 5-star on Google. So and it ain't just 10 reviews, it's like 300 on there. So we doing our thing.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I've been waiting. I've been anxious.